September 16th, 1920, Wall Street, New York. Just after noon on an otherwise ordinary Thursday, the heart of American capitalism was ripped open by an explosive so powerful, so horrifying, that would leave 38 dead, hundreds more injured, and a city forever scarred. It was one of the deadliest terrorist attacks on American soil at the time, and to this day, no one knows for sure who did it. This is the story of the Wall Street bombing of 1920, a crime that later shook the world's financial capital, yet remains unsolved over a century later. It was lunch hour. Brokers, messengers, clerks, and secretaries flooded the streets of Lower Manhattan. A horse-drawn cart rolled to a stop in front of the USA office, just across from the J.P. Morgan & Co. building at 23 Wall Street. The driver vanished into the crowd. Moments later, chaos. A massive explosion turned the street into a war zone. Shards of glass flew like razors. Bodies fell, and smoke choked the air. The noise could be heard across the East River in Brooklyn. The New York Stock Exchange immediately shut down. The final toll: 38 dead, more than 300 injured. Many victims were young working-class employees just beginning their careers. One of J.P. Morgan's chief clerks, William Joyce, was among the dead. Junius Morgan, the son of J.P. Morgan, Jr., was wounded. In the cart, it had been packed with 100 pounds of dynamite and 500 pounds of iron stash weights, making it a deadly shrapnel bomb. Authorities acted quickly. Police and soldiers from Governor's Island sealed off the area. Secret Service, NYPD, and the Bureau of Investigation, the forerunner of the FBI, launched a massive manhunt. Every manufacturer of stash weights in the U.S. was questioned. 500 stables were searched. Early theories ran wild. Was it an attempt to assassinate J.P. Morgan Jr.? That was ruled out. He was in Europe. A robbery? Unlikely. Though the sub-treasury across the street held $9 million in gold, nothing was taken. Then, a breakthrough. Or so it seemed. A postal worker found anarchist flyers in a nearby mailbox. They demanded the release of political prisoners and were signed by the American Anarchist Fighters. This suggested the bombing was politically motivated. Context matters. This was a time of intense social unrest. Just a year before, coordinated anarchist bombings rocked 8 American cities. The U.S. was in the grip of the Red Scare, a period of fear over communism and anarchism. Investigators suspected followers like Luigi Gallieni, a notorious Italian anarchist. His supporters, known as the Gallienists, been tied to bombings in the past. One name stood out: Mario Buda, an associate of Gallieni and a skilled bomb maker. He disappeared shortly after the attack, never to be seen again. Yet, despite questioning thousands and arresting dozens of radicals, the authorities found no definitive proof. No one was ever charged. No one confessed. The explosion didn't just scar the street, it rattled the nation. Wall Street reopened the next day, draped in canvases and bandages. Newspapers decried the attack as a blow to American capitalism and democracy itself. Patriotic firms, those with American or U.S. in their name, saw modest declines in stock performance, a sign that the market perceived this attack as one on the nation, not just a single company. The bombing also led to increased government surveillance of immigrants and political dissidents, particularly Italians, Jews, and Russians. It fueled xenophobia and gave rise to a second wave of aggressive deportations. Many suspects emerged. One was Edwin Fisker, a lawyer with mental health issues, who had predicted an explosion in mid-September, but he was in Canada at the time. Another was Pietro Angelo, an Italian linked to the 1919 bombing plot. He had an alibi, but was deported anyways. The most credible theory remains that the bombs were Italian anarchists seeking vengeance for government crackdowns on radicals. And while circumstantial evidence pointed towards Buda and the Gallienists, no trial, no confession, and no solid proof ever materialized. Unlike many historic tragedies, the Wall Street bombing had no official memorial. The only remaining physical reminder is the postmarked facade of the 23 Wall Street. The damage was deliberately left unrepaired, a silent testament to the violence of that day. It was one of the first large-scale terrorist attacks on American soil. It shaped how law enforcement would deal with political violence for decades, and it left behind a chilling truth that even in the most secure corners of power, chaos can strike at any time. Today, the bustling corners of Wall Street and Broad hide a dark history beneath their polished surfaces. The Wall Street bombing of 1920 is more than a cold case. It's a cautionary tale. A tale of fear, ideology, and violence in a time of deep division. Though the perpetrators were never brought to justice, the echoes of the day still resound, in shattered glasses and headlines, and in unanswered questions. Thank you for joining me on this journey through one of America's most haunting unsolved crimes. If you found this story compelling, be sure to like, comment, and share. Remember, sometimes the past isn't as distant as we think.